What is going on, my furry friends? This is your friend King Julian. Today we did another very special video. What you're seeing right now is the cockpit of the all-new 2025 upgraded NT1100 by Honda, which I will be reviewing today in the DCT version with electronic suspension. Good, before we begin, I have to mention the seat height, which is 820 millimeters, and it allows me to really place my feet on the ground nice and flat, which is very refreshing actually, especially on a tourer like this one, which weighs around 238 kilograms. Actually, this is one thing that I'm not so sure about, because I have the DCT version here, and I know that the DCT models usually weigh a little more than the manual ones, but in this case, as I was checking the specs of the new NT on the Honda website, they basically claimed every version of this motorcycle, whether manual or DCT, weighs 238 kilos, which I don't know, I will have to double check that, but that's not important. What's important is that this bike is fairly heavy. It's not a lightweight, definitely, but it feels really light. Good, I will maybe go through some general specs, and then, since I had my fair share of experience with the previous model, I actually tested it for a full week in 2023, and you can check out the review, of course. I will be talking about the upgrades that Honda is bringing with this iteration of the NT1100, and I'll give you a little spoiler: they're fucking great. Okay, but as I said, I want my review to be as structured as possible. We've covered the dimensions of this bike partially, so we've covered the seat height, we've covered the weight. With the luggage it will be more, of course. Other than that, this model is full of electronics. So you have the DCT dual clutch transmission, which is basically an automatic transmission by Honda. You don't have any clutch lever here, and the bike is managing shifting actually for you. You have the possibility to shift also manually though, and I don't know if you can see it, but here's a little button with minus on it. On the other side there's a plus button, and that means basically upshifting and downshifting. So whenever you use those, they override the DCT. This suspension on this model is electronic, which takes it one level up. Actually, that was one thing that I mentioned in my review of the previous one, that the NT is a wonderful machine, it's a wonderful tourer, it's a great bang for buck, but it is not a premium motorcycle for somebody who would like to operate everything directly from the saddle. That changes with this model and the electronic suspension, and I must say, so far so great. I really love it. What's also worth mentioning is the electronics package as such. You have this wonderful color touch TFT display that you can see in front of me. We have full LED lighting. This bike comes also with integrated turn signals. It's a wonderful upgrade actually, because it definitely contributes to better safety. Your visibility on the road is definitely better when this thing is integrated. Everybody sees. And it's also cool in terms of design. It definitely looks cleaner, and I love it. But I'm already, I think, switching between the very basic specs and the upgrades that come with this model. So I will just finish the basic spec talk. The fuel tank, this massive thing, has capacity 20.4 liters, more than a plenty actually, considering the average fuel consumption, which should be 5 liters per 100 kilometers on this bike. And I totally trust that number, because Honda is usually very realistic about their fuel consumption. And of course, the star of the show, as usual, is the engine. This is a very popular twin cylinder taken from the CRF 1100 Africa Twin. It's a 1084cc twin cylinder engine, and it produces the maximum power of 75 kilowatts at 7,500 RPM, and the maximum torque of 112 Newton meters at 5,500 RPM, which, if you know the previous model, indicates that there has been some revision done and it should now have more torque, which is very important, especially with heavier motorcycles like this one. And also compared to the old model, which reached its maximum torque, 104 Newton meters at 6,250 RPM, if I'm not mistaken. This one will reach the maximum torque earlier, so that means there will be a more optimal power delivery in the low to mid rev range. Good. The windscreen, it's definitely a major upgrade actually in my view, because as I was testing the previous model, it was a pain in the ass when I forgot to set the windscreen before the ride. I would have to stop and adjust it using both hands, which is not optimal at all at a touring motorcycle. Oh, and this bike feels like it weighs 30 kilos. Seriously, it's crazy. This suspension makes a lot of difference. Like the previous version was great. I really had a blast with that bike. I really love it, but it felt heavy, and this thing doesn't feel heavy at all. Woo! And the torque is strong with this one, and I like it very, very much. What are you doing, sir? Oh yes. Nice. And I can feel the DCT on this bike makes a lot more sense than on the previous version, and I'll tell you why. This bike comes also with a new revised IMU, and this unit is a piece of electronics that actually measures the specific forces that have effect on a body. In this case, the body is a motorcycle, of course, and also the lean angle, and it collects data basically about the motorcycle in real time and sends the data to the dual clutch transmission, so to the automatic transmission. And based on this collaboration between this unit and the dual clutch transmission, this bike makes more intelligent decisions when it comes to shifting. With the previous version, it often happened to me that I was in the middle of a maneuver or in the middle of a sharp turn, and the motorcycle for whatever reason decided to upshift, which was quite frustrating and dangerous. And this bike doesn't do it, and I've tried, it doesn't do it, which is great. It means it really, the revision and the upgrade really works. Good. Now that we covered the most dramatic upgrades on this motorcycle, I will talk more about my feelings and my riding experience. Woo! Okay, now we're talking. As I said, the DCT makes a lot more sense on this bike now, with all the revisions done and with all the upgrades. With the previous version, my opinion was that the best setting would be the manual transmission with a help of quick shifter or maybe e-clutch. I still think what I said back then makes a lot of sense, but in this case the DCT really makes educated decisions. This one really works much better and makes much more sense on this bike, and given the target group of this NT, so touring enthusiasts, nice, and on-road adventures, I would say the DCT might make even more sense now than the manual transmission. And the bottom line is I'm super proud of Honda, because they listen to their customers and they actually implement changes that make a difference in riders' life and that make these bikes way more sexy. So fortunately Honda isn't the new Apple, like just reproducing the same thing over and over and raising the price tag. These changes are very reasonable, very much needed, and the price tag, did I say price tag? I want price tag. And the price tag, it is still great. It is still great bang for a buck for the package you get with this bike. And I wish I had it for another week, man. Good. It's a little bit windy today, and I can feel some wind on my helmet actually. I have the windscreen in the second tallest position, and it does a great job, but I would say what's definitely superior in terms of wind protection are the deflectors. The upper ones, very elegant, instead of hand guards, which again, it's a practical little thingy, and it adds to the overall clean looks of the bike. And there are also deflectors on the bottom. What I also noticed is the revised rear mudguard, which seems to be longer, and it seems to offer better protection for you and for your pillion, of course. So big thumbs up, Honda. Only great upgrade so far. Now what's also adding to my overall comfort and excitement is the comfort seat, the red stitching, something I didn't know before, but every time you see red stitching is the comfort seat, and it is a hell of a comfort, really. I've never sat on anything as comfortable as the Honda comfort seat for NT1100, and that goes for this model and the previous one. What's different on this one though is the seat length. In this case of the 2025 model, the seat is 20% longer than the old one, which gives you a lot of wiggle room, literally and figuratively. It's really cool. Another cool upgrade, and a very important one. This is a great machine. I'm really impressed. Honda did a hell of a job. And when I heard there was a new model and like some revision in the headlights and blah 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 and things like that, doesn't look like a scooter anymore. It does, but I got used to it and I really like it. It looks better, and with the integrated turn signals, it really looks better. So this is another nitpick that I had, that Honda shares a lot of parts throughout the portfolio, which is it's just very pragmatic approach, of course, and a very practical one, and cost saving as well. But then you're risking having a full-blown tourer and a great package, but a front mask almost identical to a scooter, which sucks a little bit. But you know what, given the pros on this bike, I wouldn't really mind it. I want to have this bike even more than I wanted the previous version. It really impressed me. The previous version was great, and this one is just stellar. And that leads us to the conclusion. Who should consider this bike? Is it even suitable for a beginner? I think with all of these electronics, it definitely is. It could be very beginner friendly, and in the drive mode, yeah, it feels harmless. Anybody who is really interested in touring and doesn't want a motorcycle that is basically a car, like a Goldwing, but wants to have really great comfort. I mean, with this handlebar and my upright position and the massive seat and the massive fuel tank, right, that allows you to ride for 400 kilometers without a brake, you know, it's crazy. It's really cool. So it can satisfy a variety of riders, even the most demanding ones, actually. Now there are people who will say, well, it doesn't have enough power. My humble opinion is that with these big bikes, big touring bikes, it is about the torque. You need a torque to get the thing moving, and then 102 HP is more than enough. And it's not stupid, you know, the power delivery isn't stupid, it just makes sense. It's still a tourer. But in this case, I must really compliment Honda again. This bike is finally what I think they envisioned the original NT to be. With this one, you finally can have the sporty fun you deserve. It is nimble, the torque delivery is amazing, and the engine power is just enough. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. And who shouldn't get this bike is I don't know, I think that question is absolutely redundant. If you want something lightweight for the city, then this is not a bike for you. Though, with its dimensions, without the side panniers, I mean, it's very compact, so very versatile. And as I'm talking about the side panniers, this is a very important point that I need to cover. Each side pannier on the new NT has 4-liter plus storage room, which allows you and your pillion to leave your helmet actually locked on the bike as you go and have a dinner or whatever. And I think that's it for today. And now in these little twisties, I want to say thank you for your attention, guys. I hope you had fun. I hope I've managed to give you all the information that you needed. Wishing you all the best. Take good care of yourselves, your loved ones. Ride safe, be safe, stay safe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Cheers, bye bye.